There's a big difference. This physical body before Himalayas, I wouldn't say I had the fastest metabolism. When I used to be in shape, I would have to be very, very strict. Put on weight very easily, very easily. So I used to be very overweight also. I think it was when I was on the trip with Grandmaster and I was observing the way he's eating. Grandmaster eats like crazy, like crazy amounts. Like you will never imagine, because you see his body, you don't think that he eats crazy amounts, and it's all heavy curries and roti and naan bread and everything non-stop. And that was the question I asked him back then, and that was one of my biggest intrigue actually, because like you said, it's a human pleasure, and he also says it is as humans we get to eat. He says actually the divine energies, they love to eat ice cream also.
Namaste everyone, and welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Consciousness. And today we have Master Shri Akarshana.
Namaste.
Master. And joining us, we have beautiful Colombians from our team, Maria.
Hello everyone.
And Angela.
Hello.
And my name is Nishma, and in this episode we're going to be talking about how fasting helps your manifestation powers and also increases your spirituality as well. So actually we started talking about this topic because we are actually going through 108 journey with Master, like we talked about in the previous episode. So in this journey we experienced fasting, and the first time we did fasting, the first day of fasting was just no sugar at all. So the first day we cut out sugars, and the second day we cut out carbs and sugar from our diet. And the third day was completely no food, just water. And today we finally broke our fast, which I'm so grateful for food. So how was your experience? Because you guys, we all went through this together. So I would like to know what your experience was about this.
Thank you, Nishma. So I guess it's been a long time since I fast. It's been about 7 months since I was on a regular fasting, I guess. But one of the things that I saw how my body reacted was a lot of headaches that I had. Taking out the sugar and the no food at all was something that my body responded to it. But at the same time, while we were doing the practice and everything, I felt more clarity when it came to connecting myself with the practice of yoga, with the meditation. So it was really helpful and really powerful to actually be able to fast and feel right away the effect on my practice and on my meditation. So at the beginning it was like, what is happening? Why my head hurts so much? But now I realize how important it is, and it's a good thing to go through that, because then you can see after, and they always say you can connect the dots after, not during. So for me it was really helpful for my consciousness and my manifestation.
Thank you. Well, for me it was something very interesting, because I have done fasting in the past, 3 days water fasting, but this time it was particularly a little bit more difficult. And because I don't know, I was maybe when you fast with maybe a higher purpose, as the journey that we are embarking on right now, things are heightened. So for me it was like first day no sugar, it was easy. Second day no carbs was easy, but the third day was really tough. For some reason it was different than any other fasting that I've done. So it made me think and realize a lot about how mind controls body sometimes, and how these practices can help us break with that control that the mind has. Because during fasting, Master tells us all the time that we can do anything. We can go running, we can keep on doing our physical practices, but then something inside is telling you like you're weak, you're not strong enough, you have to rest, take a break. So when you realize that it's only mind, and you cut those thoughts, those limiting beliefs that you're having at that moment, it like liberates you. So after you realize that that food cannot control you, and that it cannot be the focus of your mind every day, it gets you on a whole different level, it makes you see life from a different perspective, as if nothing can really control me, nothing has control over me, it's all in my head. So that was something very, very beautiful that I experienced in this last fast.
So, so just a question for those of people who don't know, why is it that we're fasting, and how does it benefit us, and how does it help us manifest?
We, as humans, we have a lot of addictions that we don't really usually refer to as addictions. And I think during cutting out sugars or cutting out carbs, we will then realize that we have addictions. And as long as it's a human addiction, we will be bound by human limitation, because it's a human mind game. Once we surrender all human mind, and human mind can be taken out of the whole equation, we are nothing but spiritual. That spiritual energy can bypass mind to dive deep into meditation and consciousness. So in another sense also is food and energy. It will keep us, especially in this energy center, it will keep us in this physical. When we fast, we feel lighter. Although head sometimes feels lighter with light headache, as what Angela was explaining. But spirit is lighter. And so that's why, at the same time, even if it is uncomfortable, we do feel, let's say, for example, after a heavy meal, we know we've had a heavy meal. And it doesn't feel good. Maybe it's hard to describe, but the body does feel heavier. Right? Even if you just have one meal, you feel like the stomach's gone this big, when actually it hasn't gone that big, but it just feels like we're weighed down. This is our energy center. It's very important to awaken those, because in our energy center, most energies they stay there. It's stubborn energies, traumas, past life, this life, negativity, doubts, fears, survival needs, everything is there. And so the fasting will help that. The getting rid of addictions will help get rid of the human mind in this journey. And it's tough. For sure it's tough. And also because of everything going on, just like what Maria said, and I think also Nishma said during yesterday, she said that this is one day of water fasting, but it feels like I'm on day 3 of the usual water fast. Everything is intensified. And the reason behind that is because when we get rid of certain addictions, sugars, carbs, things like that, and we're in the regular practice, our sensories heighten. We are more sensitive. So we start to feel everything a lot more. And so yesterday, that one day water fast will seem much more difficult. It'll feel like a 3-day water fast.
So is that the reason why, do you think that helped me see the things that I saw in meditation?
Of course.
Because of the whole
Of course, you said
fasting?
You said that through so many times doing meditation, you've never had those visions come up. This is the first time it's came up, and because there was strict restrictions. But then there's so many parts to it. The onion, the garlic, the caffeine, the waking up early every morning, the practice every day, the opening up the energy body. So we are doing everything that we can, all the tools, all the strategies, we're using everything we can to allow for everybody to get some experience. Because everybody is different. Some, they see strange things anyway. Some are more awakened anyway. But at least then, if we do everything, we can also cleanse, because that's another good thing as well that the fasting is doing. It's cleansing the system, getting rid of any old energies, which is a beautiful time to do it. It's January, start of 2021. So get rid of the old, fresh new start with the new. Just hopefully all the practitioners, students, disciples will not be eating big feast, pizza, and then by tomorrow everything will be back to normal again. Because then it will all, yeah.
Actually, that's something very interesting what happened in my own experience, because as Nishma, you were saying that it was the first time that you saw something in meditation. It happened to me today as well. So I saw lights like very clearly, like the reflex of the sun in the water. I saw that, and I hadn't experienced it as clearly as I did today. So I was very grateful because it actually works. All the things that we are doing, they are actually for a purpose. And as Angela was saying, we don't connect things looking forward, but only looking backwards. So I want to thank you for setting this for us. And yeah, that's what I wanted to share.
So actually, what I found funny is that last night, yesterday during water fast around the evening, I felt a bit weaker. But this morning, it was all of a sudden I didn't feel that way anymore. Even though I was fasting, I still had that energy as if I wasn't fasting at all. And in my mind, because we were doing the yoga and he mentioned that it's going to be very intense, I thought, how am I going to do this? I'm fasting and I'm feeling so weak. That was my thought process last night. But it's strange that this morning while we were doing the yoga, I had full energy, and it was just, is it just something that I went through, or what was your experience like? Did you feel the same way?
Well, I guess from past experiences that we've done, there was one time that we did no water, no food. And we did full workout, full practice, heavy practice, like what was it, like 2, 3 a.m. And it was the same thought process. But in my mind last night was like, well, if I was able to get through that, I definitely can get through this because I've had the water. But it's really amazing how once you remove food itself, just food, and keep taking the water, like how your senses enhances so much, and you get more clarity as you get this. So
you would like to go another 3 days?
Angela's really
saying
good.
actually, Angela's saying forget about the clarity. I don't need clarity. I need food.
But it's because humans are based on pleasure. Like humans, they like pleasure. Like it's like food gives you so much pleasure, and
we can feel it from your emotions.
but like removing that human side of it, it actually helps you to connect with your higher self. So it's not that.
So you're in your
don't
mind.
Get mixed
Once a year connecting is enough.
Well, not that many, but yeah.
Actually, the thing is like this. It's not required. Fasting is not required. Even cancelling out onion garlic is not required. Even the yoga practice is not required. Once you get it. Because right now, we are trying to figure out where is the switch? What are we doing? What happens? When we familiarize ourselves with it, we don't need to do all that protocol. So a lot of the time, if you see a master or grandmaster practicing, doing these practices with the students, the disciples, actually it's for the students. Because it's not required. It just, all of these things are to enhance, to give the people the deepest experience of it. Once they experience the deepest connection, they understand how deep can it go, how far can it go. But they need to repeat it over and over. So there will be more fasting. Yeah. And they need to repeat it time and time again. Once you repeat it enough times, you start finding, actually, I think I know which part of the brain that needs to surrender. I think I know which part of the intent still needs to be strong. And I think I found the balance in letting go and moving forward. Just like you were explaining in the previous episode about the moment you feared, you came out of it. You will start realizing, the more you do it, you'll start realizing how much in, how much out. Mind in, heart, what's the difference? am I making it up? Am I not? Is it actually there? You start seeing. The more you do it, the more you understand. Once you understand, actually, none of the requirements are needed. You can still go deep.
Okay, so how do we get to a level like you and Grandmaster? You mentioned that you eat so much, but then you don't. We all want to experience that. I know Maria also mentioned that we want to eat and eat, but like we have to control so much. But can we get to the level like you and Grandmaster? Like, what is the?
Of course, because this is only about. I'm sure I eat more than any of you.
Yes, you do.
And I am sure I eat more chocolate and desserts and everything more than anybody.
I eat more because of that.
and it starts from the moment I wake up all the way through. So we get to enjoy all the human pleasures. It is about our consciousness in different dimension. If our consciousness in a bigger dimension, in outside layer, just like in space, if we go in the outer dimension, I could be there for 1 year, let's say, and in this physical reality, it could be 1 week, let's say. So, meaning that in an evening of sleep or in a meditation session of 20 minutes or 1 hour, we can experience, let's say, 2 weeks out there of training. And so once we become aware of those dimensions, then we will be training more outside. And then we can enjoy more here of the pleasures. But then again, it takes, because actually this physical body before there's a big difference. This physical body before Himalayas, I wouldn't say I had the fastest metabolism. When I used to be in shape, I would have to be very, very strict. Put on weight very easily. So I used to be very overweight also. I think it was when I was on the trip with Grandmaster, and I was observing the way he's eating. Grandmaster eats like crazy, like crazy amounts. Like you will never imagine, because you see his body, you don't think that he eats crazy amounts, and it's all heavy curries and roti and naan bread and everything non-stop. And that was the question I asked him back then, and that was one of my biggest intrigue actually, because like you said, it's a human pleasure, and he also says it is as humans we get to eat. He says actually the divine energies, they love to eat ice cream also, and pizza, and so while we're here, it's nice to be able to enjoy those pleasures. And then I asked him about it. Then he started talking about these dimensions. Then obviously we started going on more of the journey. And as a tester, I can actually say I know for a fact that since coming back from the mountains till now, it's just been over a year now, I've been testing it all year. Like you will know best, because literally I wake up and I eat all the way through to before I sleep. I'm eating. And I think after a year I can see that it really is very powerful. Yeah.
Okay, well,
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's the life goal.
That is the goal.
To be able to eat anything, everything.
Going back to what the topic was about this video, about fasting. So I've heard people asking, so
now people don't want to fast. People just want to eat and go different dimension training.
So how do we do that? But people also ask, I've heard questions from people like, when will be the right time to, when do you fast, or when do you get the benefit? Because people do fasting at a certain time when you get
Well,
more
it depends
benefits.
what people's purpose is, because everybody's fasting purpose is different. Some people are doing it to lose weight. Some people are doing it to cleanse the body. Some people, they're doing it to train the mind. There's a lot of people do it to train the mind. We are doing it for a lot of those reasons, but the primary reason is to get rid of human addictions and allow the energy to go deeper. So it depends what their purpose is.
So, regarding the restrictions of the food, so I don't know if you guys want to share your experience. My experience was I started avoiding this when it comes to avoiding meat and onion, garlic. My mom actually, she doesn't eat, she's vegetarian, she strictly cuts out those everything. So before I came into this Wealth Yogi and to the team, I was already aware of, cutting out those things from the food. But it took me some time. I wasn't like, I didn't get straight into it, but there was a moment where I didn't have to force myself, but all of a sudden I had this feeling that, oh, I don't want to eat this anymore, I don't want to have meat anymore. So it wasn't like, oh, because I'm going through Wealth Yogi journey, or I'm creator, so I need to cut off meat. So it wasn't like anything forced. It just happened all of a sudden. I would always go to this at workplace. There's this burrito place, and I used to love it, chicken burrito. So that used to be my lunch every other day. So all of a sudden, I didn't like it anymore, and it was very strange. And I thought maybe I'll try another day. And I felt very nauseous, and I felt like puking. So after that, a couple of times when it happened, that's when I realized I don't want to have meat. So that's how I stopped. What were you guys like coming to this journey? Were you vegetarian for a long time, or how did you?
So it kind of was the same for me. Like, it was really natural. When I became full vegetarian was when I went to India. I think when I took the leap of faith of just going to India, not knowing what I was going to do. Yep, that's when I completely became vegetarian. But it came really natural, to be honest. I stopped meat, then fish, and then chicken and turkey was the last two things. But when I started,
They have less emotions, feelings.
yeah, I guess it goes down. But I mean, when I started, cutting everything, like where we were in Rebecca G's house, there was no meat or anything. There was never that like craving, like, oh, I want some chicken or I want some meat.
But Rebecca is a very good cook.
Oh yes, she was
That's
amazing
why.
cook. But even after that, like, on your own time when you could decide what to eat, it wasn't something that I was missing from my taste buds. So it was really natural for me.
I guess that is something that happens, like when you're called for something, because me in the past, I wouldn't have ever imagined stopped eating meat, for example. I used to love it. And as Nishma and Angela are saying, it happened the same for me. So it was not something that I was suffering because I stopped eating it. It was just something that happened naturally. And I guess that when there's a purpose behind it, even though you don't clearly see what it is, it just flows. So
It's very nice, yeah. Purpose flows through you. So it is like that, yeah. My journey was same. So I was saying to a lot of people, yeah, maybe I should become vegetarian one day. I was saying for 3 years. But there was no reason really. It was kind of like, it seemed like a good thing to do. It seemed like the right thing to do, but don't really know why. And then one day it just happened. And then people will always ask, do you not miss meat? Do you not miss meat? Actually, no, I don't. And they're like, what? How? And because you are called for something. And we respect a lot of people who say because a lot of people have their ideas, philosophies, where humans are supposed to eat meat and all the rest of it, the food chain, everything, and from caveman going out to hunt and everything is normal, survival, and all this is the what they call it in Lion King, circle of life.
Yeah, circle of life.
This is like it's supposed to be that way, and there's truth in that also. Our practice is different. Our practice is purely for compassion. That's all. So if it's for survival, then if we're dying, we would have to eat something. If you watch the platform, then you would even eat humans if you're dying. So it's like that. So, but if we have a choice, then our practice is compassion. What energy is things holding? And if we can avoid those energies, there's less of those energies in our system. That's all. But we're open for everything. We also have people who are in our community who eat meat. That's okay. They just sit on the other table.
You can't sit with us.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's not we will never say we're strict. It's not strict vegan or strict vegetarian. We never command anybody to become vegan or vegetarian. We just allow everybody in the right time, they decide.
It's very true. We've been speaking so much about food that my stomach has been growling,
It's ready
and I
for
actually
food
want
again.
food now.
Okay.
So
Go to other dimension, train first. Huh?
yes, definitely. Like, I need to learn that from you. I know.
But the problem is, even when she's dreaming, she's still eating. So she comes back, it's 2 times.
Yeah. So guys, so we're gonna go eat now. So that's it for this episode. We're gonna cut it here. So if you guys like this, make sure to comment and like this video as well. Give it a big thumbs up and let us know in the comments what you enjoyed or what were your experience with fasting, or if you would like to fast in the future, like what is your plan, and also what would you like us to talk about more in the future. So let us know in the comments, and do share the video as well. And if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we will see you on the next video. Thank you, everyone.
Namaste.